These are the plaintiffs, Marie and Brian Kelly. Brian says his sister rented the defendant's house for a few weeks and was appalled. The thing was infested with vermin. The very first night they saw a mouse, a bat, and even a dead rat. It wasn't safe to stay there. They left and are now having one heck of a time getting the defendant to return the $2,000 they're owed. This is the defendant, Heather Carbone. She says her house is not overrun with rodents. And just for the record, there are no bats in Boston. She's having some construction done to her pool, and maybe a mouse got in the house, but she rectified the problem immediately. Bottom line, the plaintiffs broke the lease for reasons unknown, and she doesn't give refunds. She's accused of going batty.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the first night after renting an apartment, they found a bat, a mouse, and a dead rat. But the defendant says there aren't even any bats in Boston. It's the case of she's bat, you know what, crazy.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Marie Kelly and Brian Kelly, you are suing Heather Carbone for $2,000, the amount that you paid for a house rental that, according to you, was not fit for habitation. Talk to me.
So I needed to rent an apartment or accommodation for my sister and her husband and 3 young children who were travelling from Ireland for my wedding.
Okay.
I contacted Heather through Airbnb, and her house seemed...
Now, explain what Airbnb is.
Airbnb is a website where you can, people advertise their homes, follow
For
home.
short-term rental.
For short-term rental, yes.
Okay.
So I needed it from August 21st until September 6th. I contacted Heather, and we agreed to do the rental. I went and
What was it going to cost?
the $2,000
Okay, so the full $2,000 was paid.
was paid
Okay.
up front, yes.
Mm-hmm. And do you live there?
Yes, but
Okay.
I was going to be in Spain during that whole time, so it actually worked out perfectly.
Okay. And did you leave somebody in charge of things?
Yes, Frank, my property manager.
Okay. When you say your property manager, are you referring to the home that you live in? That he?
Yes, because I rent my house out on Airbnb so frequently that he deals with all the day-to-day issues.
And is he your friend, your boyfriend, your?
Just friend and property manager.
Okay. All righty. So go ahead.
So I agreed to meet Heather, and she took me through her home, and she showed me around. And then we agreed to go ahead with the rental. And on the morning of check-in, I contacted Frank, and he made arrangements with me and my family to meet him at Heather's apartment.
And this apartment's in Boston, Massachusetts?
In South Boston,
Okay.
yeah. Frank kindly showed us around the apartment, and he made it clear that he was across the street if we needed any help, and he was available at all times.
How big was the apartment? Is the apartment?
It's a 2.5 bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the Saturday, my mother, who was here at the time, was at home in Heather's with the 2-month-old baby. While she was there, she was making dinner, and she spotted a rodent in the worktops of the kitchen.
What kind of rodent?
She said it was a mouse.
Okay.
To her description, it was a mouse. She then, she continued to stay there, and she heard movements of rodents on the floor upstairs while she was with the baby downstairs.
Was there an apartment upstairs?
No, it was a 2-story house, so there's an upstairs floor and a bottom floor. Later that day, when she was cooking the dinner, she spotted the rodent go between the worktop and the cooker. There was a little gap. I contacted Frank, and he came over, and he lifted Heather's dog's food that was out, and
He lifted her what?
her dog food that was left sitting on the floor.
And food was left behind by her, but her dogs were not left behind.
Her dog wasn't left behind, but her dog's food and water was sitting out. Correct.
Okay.
So then he set traps, which was very thankful of him, and we were pleased. And then that night, my sister-in-law, who was 3 months pregnant at the time, was sitting in the kitchen and took off running through the kitchen as she felt something run past the back as she was leaning up against the wall. She felt something move behind her. Then my sister went to the basement to put a washing into the washing machine and came up the stairs screaming that she spotted a rodent. She wasn't clear what it was. She said she didn't look too much at it. It was on the window of the basement. She said it was either a bat or a rat. So the next day I contacted Frank again, and again he was great. He came straight over. He set traps, put down poison, did everything that he could do, and my sister then went to the basement and put her washing into the dryer, lifted her remaining dirty clothes from the floor to put another washing on, and in the middle of the clothes there was a rat in the middle of our clothes.
Oh, for the love of God. Do you have pictures?
Yes. We just have some pictures when we finally caught him. And we also have some pictures of the house being dusty and untidy.
Some dirt. At the time, Heather was, there's construction going on. She was putting a pool in the backyard.
Swimming pool, yeah.
And was all dug up, you can see from
But you folks knew that when you were...
We knew that. We were aware of that, correct.
That's the...
And there's our friend.
That's the friend, yeah.
I take it your sister moved out.
So again, we contacted Frank. He came over, and then the following morning, that was the Sunday. So when
They came in on what day?
They came on Friday. So this all happened on Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday morning, I got a phone call from my brother-in-law to say that the rat was
What
dead.
happened to that rat?
It was in the basement. So
No, I know, but it's dead. So did somebody...
No, the poison that
The
Frank
poison
had
killed it?
said
Oh, so when she
previously.
saw it, it was dead in the basement.
No, when she saw it, it was alive. And we contacted Frank.
What did she do? Watch it till it died? And
No, she came up screaming and refused to turn to the
Then when she returned,
basement.
the
And
thing
then
was...
when her husband
Okay,
returned the next day, he was dead.
That's pretty much my plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
What room is this that you're
That was
photo? Oh,
in
that's
the-
underneath the bed.
Yeah.
Dirt and dust underneath the bed. Where did your sister end up staying?
We removed her on the Monday afternoon, and we had to last minute find another rental for her. But in the
Did you
meantime,
do the same
she stayed
thing on
with
Airbnb?
me. Yeah, we got another Airbnb. Yeah, but until we got that, she had to stay with me in my small 2-bedroom apartment on the week of my wedding with 3 small kids.
So, well,
That
when
was
did
good.
you get that? How long did it take you to get that?
A couple of days. We got that then. It was we have a email from the other guy that we rented to say that he.
Okay.
We'd seen it.
So, you tell me about your contact. Well, are they calling you and telling you there's a rat, there's a bat, there's a cat in the hat?
There's been about 7 more sightings that they never told me about that have just been described here.
That's what I want to
Yeah.
know. What was it you actually were informed of?
They informed me of a mouse that they saw in the kitchen that ran across the floor. I was never told about mouses running across couches or across cooktops. So I went over, I saw no evidence, no droppings. You know, mice aren't clean. They leave plenty of evidence behind if they're around. Nothing. So I then went, so that was a result of me posting the traps to their concern. So I went
But clearly there was a legitimate concern, or
Yes.
you wouldn't have...
Correct.
You
So
know.
the issue was resolved and within 24 hours. The traps were set. That thing clearly went to the trap, met its demise as a result of the trap, and it was then promptly removed as soon as we knew about it. There was no other further evidence of any other animals in the house. There was
What about
definitely-
just the general condition of the place? And this I guess, should be asking you, because it's not, I mean, there's either a cobweb, I think it's a cobweb. I mean, the place is kind of not very, do you clean it in between
So
tenants?
I've had over 55 Airbnb rentals. I have 35 5-star reviews on here, and everything is highlighted clean, tidy.
That's great. Now, will you look at the
immaculate.
pictures of your house? Because that's what I want to talk about, the pictures
So-
of your house. So what do you suppose is the reason why it was dirt or debris or...
I mean, they're getting extremely up close and personal
Yeah.
with dust. That camera, I mean, this stone right here is about this big, so this camera is on top of it. I could find a million pieces of dust right
But
here.
it puts us in the position where it's not like a regular tenancy, you know? Like if she was renting for a year and she saw a rat and you went out there and took the measures you took, I'd say, listen, you're renting for a year here, suck it up, this happens, you're living in the big city of Boston, and things can happen so long as the landlord takes measures, or the landlord's representative takes measures to address it, that's great. But it's like if you went to a hotel and you were paying $2,000 to stay at a hotel for whatever period of time that was, would you expect to have to tolerate the rat at all? I don't know. You know, and did you say that she saw a bat?
Okay, so here's the question. How many mice does it take in an apartment that you rent before you're allowed to bail and get your money back? How many mice? What do you think?
I think possibly 2.
2.
Yes, I say maybe the first one you let the landlord know, they'll take care of it, but if you see another one or the same one, it's time to go.
I don't think that you have the right to bail. I think it's the responsibility.
10 mice, 20 mice, 30 mice, 40 mice, going inside the courtroom.
She's seen a rodent on the window, but she said she didn't look too closely at it to see what it was. It was more than likely probably
it's
the
like
rat.
whenever I have a lice case, I start scratching my head. You know, and who knows, maybe she was more creeped out than she should be just because, you know, she's pregnant, she has little kids, she doesn't want a rat. We don't want to find out later my kid got bit by a rat. It's over with the first rat, you know? So I guess, and the place is obviously beautiful. That's why they rented it. I mean, it's beautiful. The kitchen's beautiful. But when I ask myself in these short-term things like this, how many rats are one too many? I think one is one too many. I just do. I think one is one too many. I think she had a right to leave at that point. And I'm ordering the return of $1,625. And I wish you all good luck. And how was the wedding?
It was great, thank you.
Good, good. You have matching accents. I'm sure it's going to work out.
All right, guys, hold on.
Well, the plaintiffs give themselves another little wedding gift by winning $1,625 of their lawsuit against you. What's your reaction to being found guilty in there?
I think you can find a rodent anywhere, and it was rogue, and it came in, so.
It was it was rogue?
It was rogue.
A rogue rodent?
Yeah.
Well, how would you feel if you were them and renting and all of a sudden you see mice running around?
I think that if the problem's handled right away, then, you know, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to a Hilton hotel. It could happen to an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm. They just have to suck it up and deal with it?
It was taken care of, so it's not like there were any more of them in there.
Okay, all right. All right, right down this way. All right, step on out here. Congratulations on getting married. And why couldn't you deal with mice? What's the matter with you? You know, one mouse? One little mouse?
Mice or a rat?
No.
No, it wasn't me. It was the fact that there was young children and a 2-month-old baby in a crib. That just wasn't safe.
Mm-hmm. No. If it was just you, it's fine, huh?
If it was just
mice
them, my sister, yeah, would be fine.
You can deal with him, you can deal with mice, right?
True.
All right, well, congratulations on the
much.
wedding, and you win your case. Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, so there is something called a warranty of habitability that every state has, which basically means you have a right to live in a clean, healthy, safe place. And if you don't, even if that's not in the contract, you have a right to bail.